Hello friends, and welcome to today's episode. A couple in their mid-20s was ready to move on to the next part of their lives. Cal Hunter and Claire Seguin chose to live together. But there was only one thing that stood in their way. They didn't have enough money. The couple didn't have any good ideas, but they did lack money. They thought of a great way to make some extra cash. They chose to buy an old, run-down house so they could fix it up and sell it for more money afterward. Cal went to an auction and got a house for himself and his family. The man didn't know the whole time he was bidding on the wrong house. Instead of a small flat with 2 bedrooms, he bought a big house for a very low price. The couple was happy and excited about the house they bought by accident until they actually saw it. It was nothing like what they had seen online. When they bought the house, it set off a series of events that they had not planned for. Cal Hunter and Claire Seguin are both from Scotland, and they have been together for a long time. Claire had stopped going to medical school for a year. They also chose to make a big change in their lives. The couple was middle class, so they didn't have a lot of ways to make money. They wanted an extra way to make money. After giving it some thought, the couple came up with a great plan. They chose to buy an old, run-down house that they could fix up and then sell for more money. It seemed like a good idea, but their plan went in a different direction than they expected, which turned their lives upside down. As was already said, the couple lives in Scotland, but that is not where they were born. They wanted to buy a house up north. During their search, the couple found a flat they were very interested in buying in Glasgow. A few years ago, there was a fire in the flat, which meant that they would have to spend some money on it. They were very happy about the apartment and couldn't wait to fix it up. Cal was hopeful as he went to the sale. A lot of people bid at the sale. Cal put in a bid for the house of £30,000, $37,000. Without a doubt, it was a lot of money. He was sure he was going to win the bid, but he didn't realize that he had bid on the wrong house. Even better, his bid was the one that won. After he won the deal, it took Cal a few minutes to figure it out. He went to the sale house to talk to the staff about what he thought was a mistake. He wasn't interested in bidding on that house. The house he just bought in Dunoon, Scotland, was 120 years old and had been in the same family for that long. He asked the people in charge to help him find the house he wanted to bid on. All of the houses had already been bought, so he had to go back home with the flat he had bid on. Now Cal had to tell his lady this bad news. He didn't know how she would respond when she found out that they had bought a totally different building. He thought she would be upset, but the woman took it really well, which surprised him. Claire said, "The house was built in 1900. And it had such charm and personality that we thought it would be wrong to tear it down and start over. So we decided to give it a try, which was a big step." She was very happy about it. The couple knew that the house they wanted to buy would take a lot of work on their part. So, yes, that was a hard job for them to do. But they hoped that the new house they had bought by mistake would be easy to take care of. But first, they had to find a new place to live. Since he bought it by chance, no one knew where it was. So, they looked at a map to find out how far away it was from Glasgow. It was very important to them that their house be close to Glasgow. They wanted a house close to the city because Claire was going to medical school in the city. Dunoon wasn't too far from the city, which was a good thing. They could live there for a while. After that, they used Google Street View to look for a place called James Wood Villa. They couldn't believe what they found on the internet. It was an old, run-down house, but there was something special about it. They were so excited to turn the house into a home. There's no need to say that they bought the house for less money. It was a beautiful house, but they didn't know that there was more to it than what they could see. Neither of us are from Scotland, so we had to look up Dunoon on a map. We were both relieved to see that it wasn't too far from Glasgow. She also said, but our relief turned to despair when Cal pulled up outside the house and saw it for the first time. When they went to look at the house in person, they saw how much work it would take to get it in good shape. When they got there, they saw that the house was slowly sinking into the ground, that the roof was missing, and that the local council had called the home dangerous. She later said, it was partially falling apart. It was sinking. There were huge holes in the roof and walls, the wood was rotting, and the ground was full of water. Even though the house was in bad shape, the word derelict was too kind. They were hopeful. Claire said, "We love the house and its beautiful setting in a Scottish town on the edge of a loch. Everything has been a lovely mistake. If we can do this, we can do anything." It will take us much longer than a year, but just think of all the life skills we will learn along the way. Claire said that their friends and family didn't like what they did and said the house wasn't welcoming. But they didn't let all the bad things people said about them get to them. Even though the crumbling walls and broken furniture inside were a little discouraging, they were still sure that this old house was supposed to become something beautiful. By now, they knew that the rebuilding process would take a long time to finish. It means they won't be able to sell the house for a while. But they also knew that once the house was fixed up, it would bring in a lot of money. But they got hit hard when they found out that the makeover would cost a lot of money. They had to decide what to do. They knew that the makeover would cost a lot of money, but they also knew that once it was done, the house would bring in a lot of money. If they wanted to make changes, they'd have to spend all of their money. So they could save money, they had to change where they lived. The first thing the couple did was rent a caravan. They pulled their camper to the backyard and put it there. During the project, they were going to live there in this truck. One thing to note is that the wagon they rented didn't even have the most basic things. There was no power or running water. There's no need to say that they lived in a trailer with no amenities. But they were still happy with how things were. Claire and Cal used it as a chance to add some adventure to their lives. And it was their interest in the journey that led them to each other. During the ski season, Canadian Claire and English Cal met each other. The friendships are where that happened. And when they first met, they got along well. As the end of their season neared, they agreed to spend more time together. They've gone on trips all over Canada and Europe. They have been on a lot of adventures, but this one, in which they change a house that is 20 years old, is the biggest. They were sure they could do it because they knew their friends, family, and fans were behind them. The couple also wrote about their day-to-day activities on their blog and social media pages. To give people a sneak peek into their daily lives, they still share pictures and news about their home on their social media pages. To keep their spirits up, they always celebrate their accomplishments, no matter how small. Even though the process was taking longer than they'd hoped, they didn't give up and instead enjoyed every moment of it. Claire and Cal are lucky to have family and friends who will always back them up. People who cared about the couple and knew they were having money problems stepped up to help. The two people didn't have enough money to hire builders or pros, but they needed help from other people to finish this huge job. Their trip was a lot harder than they thought it would be. There has never been a day when the couple didn't have to deal with something. For example, when the couple's van got stuck in the garage, they had to dig up the whole thing. After a while, they had to dig again to find the pipe that brought water. Not only that, but it took the couple 5 months to find the main power line in the house. It seems like there's a new problem every day here at James Wood. It took us until now to find the power line that will let us connect to the mains. She continued, our van kept getting stuck in the mud, so we put down a driveway, which we had to dig up a week later to find the elusive water supply. The fight had only just started. A quick look at the inside of the house was enough to see that the roof needed to be replaced. A big part of the roof that was there was broken. They looked at how much a new roof would cost in the market. But what they didn't realize was that a good roof is useless if it isn't supported by good walls. So, if they wanted to put on a new roof, they would also need to fix the walls. The house needs a new roof, but a civil engineer told us that the walls probably won't be strong enough to hold it up. This means that we will have to fix the walls first, even though rain coming through the roof could ruin them. Claire said, it's like a big catch-22 jigsaw puzzle. A lot of their fans reached out to help them. Some of them helped them with the materials, and others gave them good advice about the work and the building supplies. They wanted the changes to be good for the environment. Some people told them where they could find old building materials and tools that could be used again. The other thing that was a problem was that there was a lot of junk all over the place. The broken furniture and other things had to be taken out of the house. They were lucky to have the truck with them. The couple put all of their trash in their car and drove to a dumpster. The couple didn't want to lose each other and all of their hard work. So, even though they were busy with work, they often made plans with their friends. The couple spent a lot of time with their friends. They agreed that they wouldn't let the job stress them out. They got rid of their stress by going out with friends. Once they had the power, they aimed at the floors of the house. They saw that a lot of the floors had gone bad. Leaving them alone could cause dangerous things to happen. Claire was in charge of pulling up the floors. She got a sledgehammer and hit the floors as hard as she could. They also had to check the broken scaffolding. The bay window on the top floor was something they liked a lot about the building. But they quickly found out that the outside of the window was full of cracks and holes. They thought that it was because the house was falling down. But it didn't take them long to figure out that there was something else going on. When they saw that the window was being pushed out of place by the roof beams, they were at their wits' end. They learned a lot of important things that we often forget in the busy city. They saw that sometimes it's best to go back to the basics. Since they were staying in a caravan, they didn't have a washing machine or other computer tools. They were on their own to figure something out. They chose to do nothing artificial. Claire had a great idea when she decided to wash her gloves. She didn't want to go to the town's laundry because it was too far away. Instead, she went to a nearby stream and washed her gloves in it. After that, she hung up her gloves between two trees. There are some hard parts to living in a caravan, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. Even though the wagon wasn't as comfortable as their own home, it was still a great experience for them. Summer was finally here, and Claire and Cal planned to make the most of it. So, instead of asking their friends for help, they decided to make their own temporary kitchen. To build their kitchen, they made a stove, cabinets, and a trash can. And it worked really well. This is true. The kitchen wasn't new or well equipped, but it was more comfortable than the one they were using before. The wagon couldn't be left in front of their house because it wasn't safe. The wagon was on the road, so any car or truck that goes by can shake it. This would definitely not lead to good things. If it does, all of their things could be ruined. The noise from the road made it impossible for them to get enough sleep. So, they decided to move their car to a new base by removing the track from the side of the house. After that, they had to pull their wagon to a new place to park it. Well, everything works out for the best. After they moved to the new camp, every morning they could hear birds singing and leaves rustling instead of the noise of cars, trucks, and people walking by. No matter how hard the job was, the couple never wavered from their plan to fix up the house. But they had to go through a lot of trouble. From cleaning up the bugs in the rooms to sleeping in a camper, everything about this trip was hard. Their land was empty for 20 years. Crows were also living in their new house. They had lived in that old, run-down house for a long time. Claire didn't want to destroy their nests, but she knew she had to get rid of the birds. So, they thought of a good idea. They tried a lot of different things to scare the crow away. They even made their own scarecrow out of things they already had. They had come a long way in their work, and over time they learned that they can't do it all by themselves. The job was big, so they needed more people to help. The two people knew right away who could help them. They contacted their friends in the UK and asked them for help with their work. It was too much and too expensive to pay for the helpers to stay at the hotel. But they didn't have any room in their caravan. The couple didn't have many choices in that area, so they chose to build a small refuge for their friends. They chose to build it in their own backyard. It was easy on the wallet because all they had to do was buy a tent and put a bed and other house comforts in it. The couple is still making changes to their house. Even though they've done so much, they're only halfway to their goal. It does take time and work to fix up a house. So, how do they do this without getting tired? They have made a list of things to do, and every day they finish at least one of them. Their work has helped them get closer to their goal. They did their best to make the office look new and clean. They have gotten this far by giving up things that were important to them as well as money. All of it started with one mistake, which changed their purpose. So, is it fair to say that it was a mistake now? That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.